Hello, wonderful friends. This is Rachel Archelaus, and welcome. Welcome to this very informal talk that I'm gonna. Okay, first of all, let me just say before I even get started, I've never used Crowdcast before. My internet's been a little shaky the past few days. Who knows why? So please communicate. Please tell me things. Please tell me you can hear me. Please introduce yourself. I want to know who you are. I want to know why you're here. I see some of you already are saying you have entrepreneurial ADHD. I can definitely relate. I can see that the video is going because I have this other thing going. So yes, wonderful. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. I want to know you're here. I love being live with you. It is one of my most favorite things to do. I should definitely do it more. And all right, now we'll get started. So, thanks. All right. Yeah, I couldn't get my lighting right today. I'm not really a slide kind of girl. I'm more of a whiteboard kind of girl. But I'm realizing that lights on the whiteboard, not such a great thing. So I'll be sure to explain everything to you so that it makes sense. And I can see your questions, so feel free to post away. I've noticed that some of you have posted a more formal kind of question, and I will be addressing those because they're really wonderful. So if you want to ask a question that I answer on air and that you can easily go back to after this broadcast to kind of re-listen to, just go underneath the video and you'll see that there's a whole section for putting in questions and people can vote to see how relevant it is for them. There's already a couple there. Thanks so much for that. I'm really inspired by them. So today, basically what we're going to talk about is overwhelm and why it seems so hard to get out of it. There's even this diagram I've got here that I'll explain to you called a crazy eight. I did not make up the concept of a crazy eight. However, I did make up this explanation for overwhelm. I think the one I saw was for about stress, but this is a bit different. And basically the crazy eight is all about, we get into this, for our purposes, we get into this feeling of, I deserve it. Damn it. I'm working really hard. I deserve it. I want it. Society's telling me that I deserve it. And we just, so we'll buy it. We'll buy the expensive stuff. We'll listen to our mentors who say, have a queen state of mind, have a goddess state of mind, have a, you need to show the universe first that you can have all this stuff. So we put it on our credit cards, and then we know that that's going to, skyrocket us into manifesting the rest of it. But when that doesn't happen, we go into this dive, right? And then we go into depression, suppression, and then we don't need it. Right? I don't need anything. I can't believe I did all that. I can't believe I was in that I deserve it state of mind. We go into, I don't need anything. All right. So this is what we want to avoid. Sorry, I'm being distracted. Somebody's video's not streaming. Somebody says it's good. All right, I'll keep going. Listen to the replay if you're having problems streaming this. So we don't want to be caught up in this cycle. This cycle is, we think we're getting into a different state of mind. We think we're going from I deserve it to I don't need anything, and that these things here, the I don't deserve it, or the I do deserve it, and the I don't need anything, we think those are answers. We think changing our perspective from one to the other is the answer. But what we see is that it keeps bringing us down. It's not the answer. The answer, as we'll get into, is really going into the middle, going into ourselves, connecting with our intuition, with our higher self, pausing there, and getting our information there. Because all of these things the I don't need anything, total minimalism, total extreme, and the entitlement of I deserve everything, I'm working really hard. Those aren't really us. Those are our conditioning, our programming. It's what we're listening to. And I've been through both of these. I know them very, very well, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to discover why we get into these here and then how to rectify that so that you can jump out of overwhelm. You can jump out of the crazy eight. You can pause in the middle and you can reclaim some kind of sanity. And I'll even tell you how to know what to do from this place, right? I've been talking about it a little bit. You probably have seen my video where I drew my to-dos for this week. And I'll talk about what's happened because of that too, because, you know, it's not a static thing. We want to participate in the creation of our lives. We don't want to revert to these old patterns anymore. We actually want to pause in the middle, pause within ourselves, and create, right? We want there to be surprises. We want there to be synchronicities, and that's how it works. But we have to stop first. We have to listen, and I'll tell you how to do that. So that's what you're in for today. I'm really excited about it. I'm totally unscripted, so ask as many questions as you want. And first, I just want to explain a little bit what my story with this has been. You know, I grew up totally openly psychic, always connected to my guides. I mean, I don't think I've ever really felt alone. I've never had that experience of feeling alone because there's always people around me, people. And I know that's different from many of you, but I just want to tell you that even though I've had that experience, it doesn't mean that I'm always connected and listening to my inner wisdom. I have gone many, many, many years where I've been cutting myself off from that, not recently, but in the past. And that's when I fell into these traps very heavily. When I was in my early 20s, I was married. I, had a rented house with my husband. It was really nice. And for some reason, I was going along pretty well. I wasn't living outside of my means. We were doing great. We were even saving a little bit of money. But then things started going wrong in the relationship. And that is what triggered me into this, right? So it's normally we have some kind of outside stimulus to propel us into this. Something doesn't go right, and then we freak out. A lot of people have this with their jobs, right? If you don't like your job, then you often overspend. Does anyone else have that? I've had that too when I had a crappy job. I'm working really hard, I deserve it, which leads you to this side, that entitlement side. So anyway, my first foray into this was because my marriage was beginning to really suck. It was not going well, and I didn't know what to do. So I left myself. Instead of dealing with it, I avoided it, which is, here we go, avoidance right down here. I avoided the situation that I was in that was making me feel bad, and I got into credit card debt, a lot of credit card debt. Well, for me at the time, it was only like maybe $7,000. But I was a nanny. I wasn't making that much money, and neither was he. In fact, our first house that we rented was about, I think 300 square feet. It was teeny tiny. So our bills weren't that much. But $7,000 of credit card debt for someone who was usually very, very frugal, very creative, that was a lot of money. And once I woke up to that debt, when I woke up to the severity of that and the magnitude of that, I went down here, right? Oh my God, I don't need any of this crap that I bought. I don't even remember what I spent this money on. What am I going to do? Well, I went down here. I don't need anything. I'm so happy by myself. I've reclaimed myself. Hooray. It was like a false awakening, right? Because I was really down here. I wasn't here. I was still here. So this false awakening happened. I sold whatever I could sell. I sold the bonds that I had gotten from when I was, born, that my family was keeping for me. I sold jewelry. I sold everything in order to pay off this credit card debt. And of course, I vowed to never get into credit card debt again. It took years to pay it off, and it was quite a journey. And then I was stuck here, right? I didn't ever spend money. I just put it all away. And was I still, like, from listening to this, you can tell it was willpower. It wasn't inspiration or intuition that was driving that. Part of the reason is because we all view debt as bad, right? Debt is neutral. You can assign whatever you want to that. Universally, debt is neutral. You can use it as a tool. You can use it to shame yourself. It doesn't matter to the universe. It's just about how you feel about it. Well, I felt intense shame about my debt. I don't think I told my parents. And I just tried to sweep it under the rug and let it be that. So I was stuck in this cycle for a long time. I eventually did get back into credit card debt. Can you believe it? Right? Went back onto this side, and I'm in a good neutral place now. But this can be very intoxicating because you get high when you're over here. You get high on that I deserve it. It tricks you into thinking that overspending or overreaching is a good idea. And then you get high on this minimalist thing. You get high on that idea that, oh, I don't need much. I'm okay with nothing. I would love that, right? My favorite saying that is from this period is I could live in a tent, right? I could be happy in a tent. And while that's very true for a limited amount of time, maybe even a year if I was traveling and doing it on purpose, I don't really want to live in a tent. A camper for a little while, some tiny house, yes, but maybe not the rest of my life. So however this shows up for you, look for it, right? You can feel the disconnect when you get here. You can feel that there's some power that you're still accessing from here and here, whether it's the I deserve it, I'm entitled, or the I don't need anything. And it's almost like I'm better than everyone else because I don't need all that stuff, right? And again, none of this is a judgment. I've been there. All of it's neutral, really universally. We're just looking for the recognition so that we can jump out of the problem and go here into acceptance and awareness. So here, it doesn't say no debt. It doesn't say lots of possessions. It just says acceptance and awareness, right? We need to accept our situation. We need to have awareness of who we are, what is really us, like what's really going on in our cells, our brains, so that we can fix it. So right now, I want you to take a breath, a really, really deep breath. My feet fell asleep. Take a deep breath all the way down into your diaphragm. And I want you to just wipe away the judgment. There's no judgment. It doesn't matter if you're in debt. It doesn't matter if you've sold all your stuff and now you're living in a white room. It doesn't matter what you've done in your past. It doesn't matter what you still want to do. If you're still foaming at the mouth to go spend money, none of that matters. Wipe away the judgment. Just release it out into the room. And then find your center. Find that place within you that's the real voice, the real you. And what I want you to imagine is that there's a little string coming down from your higher self, and you're just going to attach it to your heart. So it could be like a little fish hook on the end without piercing yourself. You're just going to attach it there, right? Maybe it's a little piece of glue. or something, sticky, or a little thumbtack, right? We're going to stick it in there without the pain, without the injury. We're just going to attach it. So there's a string coming all the way down from your higher self right into you. It's going to keep you here. Acceptance and awareness. And I want you to make a deal with your higher self right now that if you get off track, that she's going to just tug on that little string and you'll feel it, so that you'll know, oh, I'm going over here, or oh, I'm going over here. So that you're always aware, you're always coming back to the present moment, you're always coming back out of judgment, just into awareness and acceptance. So, is this making sense so far? I want you to let me know, and I'll check on the questions in a minute. But have you felt yourself being in this crazy 8 before? Right? I know it can take some introspection. It can take some real journaling or thinking about this, because we think that these are normal, right? We think people are telling us, like, this is what you have to do in order to be a good human being. This minimalism thing, right? No waste, not living outside your means. And then, or the entitlement. This is what you need to be in order to make it as an entrepreneur, right? This is what you need to be. Like, I listen to David Nagel all the time. And he says, go spend, go put that first class ticket on your credit card, right? Spend. Like, he's into that. That's cool. That's his way. But I don't think we should orchestrate that. I think we should listen to our higher selves and let them guide us. Yes, I have put things on credit cards. Yes, I have, signed up for courses where I didn't know where the second payment was going to come from. But when I've done that, when I followed my higher self, the money was always there. When I've done that out of desperation of, like, trying to grab something from another person, trying to give my power into another person, coming from here or here, it's wiped me out. It's been not a good experience. So I'm glad you guys are agreeing with this or seeing yourselves in this. Yeah, Carrie's often in the I don't need space. Me too. But then I do feel it when I come over here. Like sometimes it's about, oh, but I deserve a $200 haircut. Not that I've gotten one, but I go there, right? Before I come back to myself, I'm like, I deserve this. I deserve that. I deserve this 5-star luxury retreat. But when it's coming from that place of I deserve, with the flair, of course, not the real deserving, the flair deserve, then it doesn't really work out. It's just a draining experience. Same thing with over here. When I'm getting rid of stuff willy-nilly, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good other than that I'm accomplishing something, masculine side, willpower. I'm proving that I'm a good human being. When we go into the center, that's where we get our sweet spot. And you can still experience both minimalism and deservingness, but in an aligned way. Okay, so yeah, Jessica says, huge recognition, was in the Crazy 8 for years, recently on the minimalist side. Yeah, all right. So I just briefly want to talk about what goes with this, what goes with this craziness. And then we're going to talk about the middle and how you can know, first of all, why bother listening to our higher self? What the heck does that have to do with making money, being in business? But we'll get there. So on the minimalist side, what we're really doing is just we're rejecting ourselves and we're suppressing our own inner voice. So we're saying, I don't need anything, even when your higher self is telling you otherwise, right? You still need to grow and evolve. You can't just stay stagnant like this. So we're suppressing ourselves and we're in reaction mode, right? We're selling things off. We're closing our blinders to the opportunities around us. We're saying no to things that we don't need to say no to. And often if you're in that, getting out of debt mode, you're reacting to the debt. You're thinking debt is bad, have to get out of debt. You're just reacting. You're not listening to your heart. Okay. On the other side, of course, we talked about this, but the entitlement side is all about accumulating debt to cover emptiness. So we feel the emptiness there. Otherwise, we wouldn't go to the power of deservedness. If we didn't feel empty, we wouldn't need to cover it up. So something caused us emptiness. In the beginning, for me, it was that my marriage was beginning to really suck. A lot of times it is that your job is not fulfilling, so you overspend. Debt often accompanies this entitlement thing. And then what ties all of this together is scarcity, right? We feel lack inside on both sides of this. We feel like I'm never going to be able to do this. Once we come down here, once we come to the bottom of those cycles, it's lack, it's scarcity. We lose hope in our future. We lose hope that we can accomplish what we want to accomplish. And that is where I'm feeling, I don't know what the word is, a mission to scoop people up out of that. I work with very new entrepreneurs, and I see this happen all the time. And it just kills me inside, because I know if they just went here, it would be okay. If they just centered themselves here and kind of got their daily to-dos and got back on track this way, that they'd be okay. They'd get out of that hopelessness. But unless you catch yourself, it's pretty impossible. So scarcity, overload, right? Confusion, divided mind between I deserve and I don't need anything, so we battle ourselves, and a lack of focus and results. So when you're in this cycle, you're not thinking about your business. You're not thinking about what's best for your business. You're not in your heart making your decisions from there. You're losing synchronicity, which is your biggest asset. All right. Your intuition and the synchronicity that happens when you follow your intuition is what creates the outcomes that you want. It's not being stuck in this cycle. Okay. So when you're in this crazy eight, you're losing your biggest asset, because you're consumed with this. You're consumed with getting out of debt, and you're consumed with being a minimalist and shutting yourself off from any like sensory input. So it's a big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal. And of course, that's the title of our talk today, right? It's about overwhelm. It's about confusion. It's about this place that we get ourselves in, where we're so consumed with our circumstances. Are we making enough money? Do we have enough clients? Do we have the right business model? Are we doing this the right way? It's all about the circumstances and the how. We're in problem-solving mode. We're doing all kinds of strategy, right? And we're keeping ourselves down here, but where we really need to go, which is scary for some people, is up here, right into the middle. Because I know you've heard this before, we are not supposed to figure out the how. We are supposed to know the why and just do it, right? We're just supposed to go out there, live our dreams, follow our inspiration, follow our excitement, and the how will take care of itself. That is like, when I first heard that, even me, I was like, what the, you know what? Like, how does that work? I grew up as a very, very analytical person. I planned everything. I thought out everything. I thought I had to remember every single thing I ever learned. And so my mind was always racing. And even though I'd always, of course, been in touch with my intuition and my higher self, I did not understand that phrase. I didn't understand that, we're not supposed to know the how. However, now I do. All right. Awesome. So I'm going to go to one of these questions now. How to get focused. How to get focused and stay focused when your main focus is survival. All right. So I think we can all kind of agree on that. It got some upvotes, which is awesome. All right. I'm still learning this. Okay, it disappeared. How do we get out of survival, right? How do we focus when we're in survival mode? Well, this is keeping you in survival mode. So the first step toward getting out of survival mode and being able to focus is to go into the middle of acceptance and awareness. Again, that's string, right? So this is distracting you. Being in overwhelm, being in entitlement, being in I don't need anything, being in confusion, being in divided mind, it's a distraction and it's a reaction. And you want to be in that creative mind and not the reactive mind. So the first step to that, which I'll get to, the first step to getting out of survival mode, go into acceptance and awareness. You've probably heard this before. Figure out what you owe if you're in debt. Start journaling to really find out what it is you desire. Make a vision board about what it is you want. Make sure that you're checking in with your heart, right? It's really to start recognizing what is programming and what is really you. So if you've done any kind of purpose work, or if you've seen an intuitive who can help you discover your intuitive gifts, or if you've always had a dream from when you were a little kid, right? What did you want to be when you were little? What compliments have people given you along the road of life? What lights you up? And in fact, if you want to start connecting with yourself and your higher self, I have a free course called Soul Purpose Secrets that you can check out. And it's totally free. It'll tell you how to talk to your higher self, how to connect. Go to soulpurposesecrets.com. That's a great first step to get out of survival. Now, how to stay focused and know what to do is a whole nother thing. So I have found over the years that listening to your intuition, right, which is like a bodily thing. It's a yes or a no. It's a yes, I'm excited about this. No, I'm not excited about that. When we try to live like that, it's almost too much for us at this stage. A lot of us who are in business for ourselves or wanting to be, we like thinking, we like strategy, we like putting together launches and campaigns, right? I know Carrie is with me here. We want that. We want more involvement in our life. We don't just want to give everything over to those sensations in our body of excitement and lack. Yes, they can tell us the big things. They can inform us moment by moment, but we want more control. We want more involvement. And that's why I do this. That's why I use intuitive art to really plan and inform me in bigger ways. And I'll talk about that more at the end. I have a class that I'm going to be able to teach you my method of how I know what to focus on day to day to achieve my goals in my business and my life. It's all connected. So getting out of survival mode, to, wrap up your question, it's about going within. Okay. You're not really in survival mode. No one really is anymore. First of all, we all choose our paths. So we're all choosing every single thing, every moment from the higher self perspective. So when we take responsibility for that and we say to ourselves, okay, my outside life is truly a reflection of what's going on within me. When you do that, when you gain that awareness, when you gain that acceptance and you don't judge it anymore, you automatically clean the slate for new things to happen because you can take new steps. You have a new awareness. You can literally change your outside circumstances within minutes. It's only your perception that's telling you you're in survival mode. So if you stop, center, change your perspective, gain awareness on what you're really thinking and doing, you're automatically out of survival mode. So you can be out of survival mode in an instant. It's how you proceed that really makes a big difference. It's if you can keep that up and not jump back into this, that really makes the biggest difference. Okay. If you want, follow up on that, just let me know. Okay. All right. Yeah, so I guess I'll get into this now. So Carrie's asking, so many wonderful things to focus on. How do I focus my focus? I have a bit of entrepreneurial ADHD. I get you. I totally get you. I don't know if you've watched any of my previous videos. You may be new to me, but I am like always creating something. Always. I've always been like that, whether it was in business or not. So if you were sitting on a couch with me a couple of years ago, I was either like embroidering something or quilting or drawing or even painting or knitting or crocheting. I was always having something in my hands, always creating. I'm still like that. I'm just doing it a little differently. Now I'm either doing intuitive art or I'm writing a book or creating a course or a certification or teaching. I'm always doing something. And that requires to do it all well and to complete it all requires a heck of a lot of organization, which is something I'm so at this point. My feet are literally asleep. This is awesome. All right. So how do you focus? Okay, here's the big question. And more importantly, how do you know what to focus on? Because I'm gonna get rid of this now. I'm gonna do another diagram for you. Because if you have seen any of my other videos, you'll know that there's a difference between your mind and what it can help you with, and going above that's your intuition, your higher self, and what that can help you with. Simply because they have a difference in viewpoint. So here we go. This is you. And this is the level of your mind, right? It's kind of like stuck in us. It can't escape. It can only get information from outside people, right? So like you can read a book and it can inform your mind. You can talk to people or teachers and they can inform your mind, but that's it. It doesn't get any more information than that. So when you're thinking about something and you're creating your strategy and you're creating your what do I focus on now and your daily to-do list from your mind, it's only using information from the past. That's it. So anything that's come before you that you've learned, anything your parents taught you, any programming or conditioning that you have, that's what your mind knows, and that's it. All right. So think about that. If you had no intuition at all, how would your life be? What would it look like? Right? No gut feeling at all. What would your life look like? I couldn't even imagine mine. I really couldn't. It would be very different. All right. It's hard to imagine because we have it. So I won't make you go there any longer. But what we have access to is actually everything. So if we go above the mind from our intuition, which is what's our portal to all of that stuff, we actually have access to everything that is, was, ever will be, is in China, is in our past lives, is in our future lives, is in everything. Everything. We think of God or source as being an accumulation of every single thing ever without the limits of time or space. So it sounds so out there. Yeah, I know. However, we, our little humble selves, are actually always connected to that information. That's why there are people who are psychic That's why some people who die young know they're going to die young. That's why seeming miracles can happen, right? It's because on this level here, we're not really dealing with all the information. Okay. And I think I'll lay a big one on you in a little bit, but so far, let's just go here. So you may not have heard of the oversoul, and that's all right. So we're just going to skip over that. It's just one thing in the line of going down that is involved. You are probably familiar with your soul. Your soul is just the accumulation of all of the yous. So you probably believe in past lives and future lives. Well, your soul is dealing with all of those lives all at the same time. So your soul is like the receptacle, the database for everything you've ever done or will do. Your higher self, on the other hand, is just for you. It has access to all of this stuff, but it's working for you. So this connection here is what gives you your intuition. It's what can connect you with your spirit guides through oracle cards or tarot, or if you're psychic and you can access stuff on your own. Everyone is psychic, by the way, you just don't know how to do it yet. So this is like your little portal to all of this. You're never disconnected, even if you feel like it. This like earth game here is just a game. It's not really who you are. You're not really a body. You're actually your higher self. All of reality, I told you I'd go deep with you right now. All of your reality is just one big like projection. Some people call it a hologram. Physics has caught up with us. They appreciate this as well. If you've ever seen What the Bleep Do We Know, they go into this a bit too. None of this stuff is real. Yeah, Carrie, Earth game, woo, woo, right? So we don't actually have cause and effect on this level, on the earthly level. There is no cause and effect. Have you ever wondered why the blueprint that was promised to make you millions of dollars didn't even make you $2? Have you ever wondered why some things work for some people and some things don't work for other people? I'm an amazing student, right? A lot of us here are really whip smart, but we've all done everything the right way, the perfect way, and it hasn't worked, right? No matter what it is, whether it's learning a sport or doing something in business or doing something in a relationship. We hear these things over and over. This worked for me. This worked for me. This worked for me. And then we try it. It doesn't work. How many thousands of dollars have you spent on coaching, from coaches who say, just trust me, to courses who are like, this is the one and only blueprint for this, where it just doesn't work? Everyone's had that experience. I have spent lots and lots of money on that too. Again, I said I wasn't always in the crazy. I wasn't always out of the crazy egg. So if there's no cause and effect on this plane, think of, women who've lifted up cars, impossible. People who've gotten rid of tumors, fourth stage cancer in an instant. Doctors had no idea. All of these miracles that you hear about, how could that happen if there's actually cause and effect on this plane? It can't. Why? Because there's no cause and effect on this plane. It's all an individual game, which is why I wish I had that drawing back up. Your center, your connection is the only thing that can give you the truth for you. Right? So much so that it's activating my throat chakra. I love you, Carrie. Thank you. So is this too esoteric? Is this too much? Tell me, because I don't normally even get into this. But I basically just channel all this for you. And so whatever you're ready for comes through me, which is really cool. So why does this even matter? Why do you have to know that? Well, if there's no real cause and effect on this earth level, if all these miracles can happen, if people can try things that have worked for other people a million times and they don't work for you, where do we get our information, right? Nothing on this earthly level is guaranteed to work. Nothing. And so we have to go to the place that's creating our reality, right? Everything on this reality is a mirror of what is inside of us. And our higher self, because it's part of us and it's part of Source, has the power to orchestrate our reality. It's amazing what it does. I'm not going to get too much into it here because I want to keep this under an hour. But if you become one with your higher self, if you learn to communicate about your life and about what you want and about how to get there with your higher self, you are much, much, much more likely to A, love your life, B, feel fulfilled and excited by your life, C, get to where you actually want to go, and so many other things. Have the synchronicities be on your side, the miracles, the results, the ease, less struggle, less overwhelm. You take yourself out of the crazy eight, you put yourself in the middle, and you listen to yourself, to your higher self, and you get to do all of the things you actually want to do. So that's what I do. And that's what a lot of my students do, right? So I call this the soul focus method because it's a little bit more in depth than just my regular intuitive art. So if you've taken my intuitive art free class, that's awesome. You are ahead of the game, but you don't know all the steps. There are 2 extra steps that I've added to this to make it work in a functional, practical, really implementable way. So basically, I do a drawing about my business. So let's take my business, for example. I'm like, okay, higher self, what do I need to focus on right now to achieve this? Okay. And then I do my drawing using intuitive art. And then I go through the drawing and I actually get my schedulable to-dos. So what do I need to do to focus on right now to accomplish this? And I get my to-dos, I do them, and then I do another drawing. And throughout the process, which normally I can accomplish these things within a week or so, which I do like a new drawing every week or when I'm done, things happen, synchronicities happen, breakthroughs happen. Even if it's the to-do itself is not about business, it will lead to something within business. All right, I'm going to give you an example because I showed you how I did this drawing the other day. One of the things on here is it says energy, no holding back. Now, that doesn't really that doesn't say call Karen and ask her for the sale. It doesn't say do this webinar, right? This webinar is not on here. And I just came up with this, I think, a day and a half ago. So how does it work? How does it translate, right? And sometimes there are very functional business-oriented stuff on there, but I'm going to take an example that isn't, so you get how this works even when it's not related. So energy, no holding back. How do I schedule that? I don't really schedule that one. So what I have to do is I've got to tell myself, well, where am I holding back? What am I doing to hold myself back? And I realized that I hadn't actually fully stepped into the game. I was holding myself back because I didn't want other people to think I was judging their position, right? So when you're a teacher and you've got this passion to share and you've got all this energy and this knowledge and this connection and your guides are telling you to go for it, but you don't want to step on anyone's toes. You don't want to make them feel like they're doing anything wrong. And I was feeling like again, who am I to be my biggest, brightest, boldest self, because I didn't want other people to feel bad. I really don't. But that was holding me back because that was my mind tricking me. Okay. It wasn't my inner center, right? And so writing that down and realizing that, I had a huge breakthrough yesterday. I mean, huge. I was like screaming in my head, and I went for a drive. I had to process so much because I finally broke through that limiting belief. And now, as you can see today, I mean, I'm sharing more with you than I normally do, and I'm exploding with excitement. So even something as not clear as energy, no holding back, makes me realize, again, that awareness and acceptance, it opened me up into huge new opportunities. So now when opportunities come my way that are bigger, that would require me not to hold back, I'm not going to say no or go into avoidance. One really good one that is schedulable is to do quicker videos. Okay. So I tend to make videos. I think my shortest one lately has been like 8 minutes, and that was a big, a big accomplishment. This is to make shorter videos and to put them on social media. So like, 60-second to 3-minute videos to put out regularly, more often, a couple times a week, with just little nuggets of information that's helpful. And that made me really excited. All right. So there are schedulable things and there are inner work things, but me doing this until all of them are done, me following through, it's already put me ahead in business. It's already given me the ideas that are going to connect with my tribe in the right aligned way to move me forward, to get me more results, more clients, more money, whatever I want, my tiny house. Okay. So when you're working with your higher self, you are allowing yourself to get the whole scope of information that you need. If I had gone just to my mind and said, what do I need to do to accomplish this? It would have told me, let's see, let me give you an example, right? So when we think of, I'm finishing up this today. So enrollment is closing today for my Soul Focus course. I'm teaching you how to do this for yourself. My mind would say, email a couple more times, do the webinar, make an offer. It would have some worry in there. I wonder how many people are going to sign up. I wonder what's going on. Just even trying to access my mind when I'm in such an inspired state, it brings me down so far. Like, you literally saw me lower my vibration. Was that state attractive to you when I lowered my vibration and I went into my mind? Probably not. Now, coming unscripted to you, giving you just what you need because I'm listening to your energy, that is more me. It's a higher vibration, and it's more attractive to other people because I'm living in my purpose. So even the act of using your mind to do that brings you down and confuses you and puts you back in that cycle that you don't want to be in. Now, there is a place for your mind. I use my mind all the time. But when it comes to planning my life, my higher self is much more adept at doing that because that's what's creating it all. It knows you at your deepest level. It knows your soul and the blueprint you have for your life. And it's always connected to source, which, guess what? Is connected to every single person on the planet. And guess who those people are? They're your customers. Okay, so do I need to say more? I mean, I feel like this is just a wonderful revelation that if we use the higher self level to do our planning and our day-to-day stuff, what to focus on, we're opening ourselves up to real synchronicity, real fulfillment, and it made my life so much easier. Not to brag, but to tell you, to illustrate this. a lot of my peers, the people who I took my beginner classes with about business, are still in the state of figuring things out. Whereas I tend to listen to my higher self and act and then figure things out, right? The to-dos here, they don't all make logical sense. Okay? Like, why would I need to worry about what clothes I wear? Why would I need to worry about the food that I eat? Because those are on there too. Right? In business, that shouldn't have any bearing on business whatsoever, at least the food part, the clothes part, because I'm normally behind my desk. No one sees me. But they do matter because they matter to me and my vibration. And that is literally the reflection that I see. And the reflection that I see includes my clients, my bank account, and everything else, where I've created a lot of earthly success and spiritual success. I'm highly fulfilled in what I do in a pretty short amount of time. And most of the people around me want that still, but they're still treading water. And it's because they're afraid to use their intuition. They're afraid to use their higher self. They think it all has to be rational and make sense. And I'm just telling you from experience and also from all the research I've done, that's not how it works, right? It's just not. If we had real cause and effect on this level, how could these miracles occur, right? Science is absolute. So if there's any deviation from that science, doesn't it just disrupt everything? I believe so. I believe the real cause and effect happens at the higher self level, and the higher self is just creating the world that we want to live in based on how we are connected, how we are aware, what we choose to focus on, our current vibration. And the more I align with that, the easier and happier and more amazing my life becomes. I'm not without challenges. I am not without moments of going into panic. I'm not without my roller coaster of emotions and decisions that I have to make. I'm still human. I'm still living with, my boyfriend. We have stuff come up sometimes. I wouldn't be human if I didn't have challenges. But for the most part, I have one of the most blessed lives I've ever seen. And it's all because I listened to my higher self. And I don't know what I would do without that connection. It's absolutely my most prized possession, right? So yeah. So Carrie, to wrap up answering for you, so many things to focus on. How do you know what to focus on? You ask your higher self. I've got a million projects going right now, like I mentioned, a certification, a workbook, an actual book, this class. I travel a lot. I take almost an entire week off or more every single month. I do a lot. And I'm always wanting to do more, creating websites. How do I know what to focus on now? This helps everything in the perfect synchronous time. Sometimes I'm late, like with my book draft right now, I'm a little bit late, but it's not the end of the world because I'm self-publishing and I hired my editor. And so I don't have a real deadline to give to anyone. It was self-imposed, probably by my mind. So with all of the, multi-passionate people, I'm definitely multi-passionate as well. How do we know what to focus on? That one drawing from our higher self on what to do right this moment, right now. When you do those to-dos, you do another drawing. It'll move everything forward because part of the work that I'm showing you in the soul focus method, which there's a link right above the video if you want to go sign up or check it out, is how to be in this open, aware state. So the middle of that crazy 8 was about acceptance and awareness. I'm going to show you how to live there so that you can see when these opportunities arise, right? Like, have a breakthrough was not on my to-do list, but I had a breakthrough yesterday because it said energy, no holding back. And I looked into that for a moment. I paused for maybe 5 minutes. That's it. I asked myself, gosh, where am I holding back? What is going on? Popped into my head. Thank you, higher self. And then a full day later, I had this epiphany. So things will come up. More will happen than just what's on your list. And you'll know what to do about it because you know how to be aware and open and receive what your higher self is giving you. So I'm going to mark this one done. So biggest answer I can give is go sign up for the course. I've made it extremely affordable. This is the only like consumer type product I have at the moment. And I'm probably not going to be teaching this one live again. I'm probably going to hand it off to one of my certified intuitive artists, and they'll be teaching it, which is great. Awesome. They're so, so amazing. But if you want to take this course with me personally, you probably want to do it now. Also, enrollment does end on that tonight. And yeah. So, all right. We got some more questions here. How do you know when your mind tricks you? This is something that is a feeling, and you have to have that awareness in order to know. You have to be able to have that space inside of you to see, first of all, to observe, is this my mind? Is this my higher self? And I teach you also how to ask your higher self questions with that bodily sensation as an answer. So you can ask yourself, is this my mind or is this my higher self? And you'll feel the answer. So that takes a little bit of practice. It takes a little bit of technique. And I'll definitely be showing you how to do that. It's very prevalent, right? When your mind tricks you. Mine still tricks me all the time. It's just that the ratio of tricking to non-tricking has gone way down over the years after lots of practice and technique. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Oh, I didn't mark that as being dead. All right. And Roseanne says, big time sense. We put our judgments on everything in reality. Nothing has meaning until we decide it does. Yeah. We decide what things mean. We decide if it's good or bad. It's all us. We really are the center of our universe. And, you know, it's the truth. I don't think we should wait either. I think we are really rapidly evolving right now. We are moving so fast. And I know you're probably feeling this too. Moving so fast right now in our own evolution that if we don't get this distraction thing under control, if we are keeping ourselves at this mind level through, just twittering our way our energy, or by getting stuck in our mind and fighting with ourselves, I can't imagine how much harder it's going to be in the future to get out of that, because everything's just going so fast. All right. So Laura says, what if we have multi-talents, but want to get started with one and build on one? Yeah. So you're going to want to do this to know which one and to know how to build it and to know what is aligned for you. So our minds often think, okay, the best way for me to go about my life is to work on this one thing right now. When really, intuitively, you're not going to be happy doing that. Or it's not the right time, or so many other reasons why. You can't see the reasons why maybe that's not a good idea. It's just that your mind is telling you logically that's the way to go. So what if you're really supposed to start over here? Or what if you're supposed to go take a walk to the candy store, and that's where you're going to meet a partner that's going to like make it so that you can focus on everything at once? There's so many variables that we as our, personality selves can't really see or get into. And so when we use our higher self to point us in the right direction, we still feel like we are doing it. Like, I still feel connected to this. I can choose not to follow the advice on here, but why wouldn't I? If I know that that's what's going to bring me the life that I'm really wanting to live and the life that makes me happy and fulfilled. So Laura, it's cool that you want to start one and build on one, and you can do that, the regular way if you'd like to. But if you want to do it in the most aligned, multidimensional, synchronistic way, then I would suggest working with your higher self and getting your to-do list from that level. Hope that makes sense. All right, any more questions? Otherwise, I'll let you guys go. I do really believe in this method. So if you're on the fence, if you've got questions about what it entails or anything, just please email me or write it on the side, and I'll give it an answer. I don't want you leaving here thinking that you might want to do it, but you're not sure. I really want you to ask yourself, is this really going to help me right now? Ask your higher self, and here, we'll do it together now. So this yes-no method of asking your higher self a question is all about feeling a yes or feeling a no instantly. So I want you to imagine like the best hug you've ever gotten, or holding your favorite pet, or just an amazing feeling of love. And I want you to feel it in your body. So access how that feels in your chest. The greatest hug, the greatest love. And access that until your chest does something different. All right, now that tingly, expanded, open feeling is a yes. And now I want you to access the feeling of being depressed, or when something bad happens, or when something goes wrong. What does that do in your chest area? Really feel it just for a second. There's a density there. Your shoulders go forward a little bit. It's heavier, right? That's a no. So when you want to ask yourself a higher question, you can ask, is taking this course with Rachel beneficial for me at this time? So ask yourself, higher self, is taking this course with Rachel right now beneficial for me at this time? And you'll either feel the density or you'll feel the excitement, the opening. And sometimes you'll feel a blank spot and then energy around your body. And that means yes, but you're afraid. And that's okay. So you'll probably get your answer before you're even done asking the question. So is it dense, shoulders forward, or is it open, possibly with energy outside of your body, or energy in here? It's okay if fear comes. Fear is natural. Fear does not mean bad. I get fear over taking big decisions, big leaps all the time. All right. Any more questions? Yeah, Carrie. Yeah, yes, but afraid. Now what? So that means you jump in, and that means everything's going to take care of itself. The fear is just the fear is what we assign a judgment to fear. This is not a fear of, burning our hand on the stove. This is a fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen to me if this doesn't go well? It's a totally man-made fear. It also often signifies that you're leaving your comfort zone. Okay. So if your comfort zone has mostly been, let's say here, I know you, Carrie, you're pretty intuitive, but maybe your comfort zone has been here. You've gone a little bit up, you've gone a little bit into your intuition, but you've been afraid to really make decisions from that point. Well, taking this course and following this method is going to bring you, way out of your comfort zone. But we only grow outside of our comfort zone. And so it also means that maybe there's a decision that you're going to be making in the next few months or year that's really going to rock your boat, and it's going to bring you a lot of growth, maybe a lot of sadness. I don't know. Those things often go together. So it could be you're anticipating the growth, you're anticipating the change, and that is what creates the fear. So it's just an indicator that you're growing, things are happening. You know, you might have some sadness or fear or along the process, but it's a yes nonetheless. So I hope that makes sense. Like, for example, I had to make huge fearful decisions that were a yes, but were riddled with fear. Like when I left my marriage, it wasn't, it was obvious that I had to do it, but it was a horrible process. Like when I flew to Ireland by myself for the first time, flying overseas, traveling overseas by myself, that was a yes, but with a lot of fear. So we can see in our lives that this is kind of it's a normal thing, but we just don't look at it very often. So hope that makes sense. Oh, you're welcome for the hand holding. I'm really good at that. I really am. My clients will tell you that too. So yes, Roseanne, this is being recorded just like a regular hangout, and it'll be put on my YouTube channel. All right, any more questions? And we already have a bunch of people in the class, so it's going to be a really great time. You're going to get an accountability partner. I'm going to show you how to follow through, which is, I know, what we all need to learn. So how to follow through with this stuff, how to respond to life in this new way, how to know when opportunities are linked to our higher self. I did this great little video a couple of years ago about this woman who really wants more money. And her higher self has been trying to give it to her in every way she could think of, but the lady is just ignoring every single attempt, right? We don't want to be that person. We want to be like this. Okay, higher self, give it to me. So that's what I'm going to teach you how to do, how to be a person like this so that you can receive what you're asking for instead of being so bogged down in confusion that you can't even see it. So I think with that, I will let you guys go. I love you very much. Thank you so much for being here. And do feel free to reach out on Facebook or email if you have any more questions. All right, guys. Mwah! Lots of love. I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.